Hello, and welcome to the Old Farm Bus Podcast. This is the back of the bus session.
Hello, hello, and welcome to the Old Farm Bus Back of the Bus Sessions. I've got a very special podcast today. Do you want to know why? And it's not because of this wonderful new jumper that everyone keeps telling me I'm either like a candy floss or something like that. No, it's not about this today. It's about this wonderful man and wonderful guest I've got. Do you want to know why he's wonderful? Because I've never met a Morton in my whole existence, so I'm so excited to find out what a Morton is like. I mean, we've had a good chat already, mate.
I know.
And it's been pretty all over the place. So
yeah,
that's
we don't
where
shut up. That's
sporadic
why.
sounds great. I'm very excited about this. But ladies and gentlemen, welcome Morton Piercewright from The Good Hustles.
You got it. You got it. It's all good.
First time, baby. You're the lead singer and guitarist.
Uh-huh.
Amazing. So, Morton, what is life like as a Morton?
What is life like? Thank you for getting the name right.
Yeah,
So that's good.
I just banged it straight out.
Yeah,
is
he
that
nailed
right?
it. Yeah.
How often what do people call you if it's not Morton?
It's Mort. Mort's fine. But like, Mort is fine.
But I mean,
like,
when the people get it wrong, what do they confuse it as?
I've had everything as like Martin. Martin is the one I get the most, or Morgan, and I'm just like, can you not? It's written down, especially like we're all working from home at the minute, so I've got all these emails, and I'm like, my email address, you're literally replying to it. It's got my name in it. You should know. But yeah, that's Morgan is the most common. Morgan and Martin. Not a fan.
I get Mickey a lot.
Oh, Mickey.
Like, hey, Mickey, you're so fine. You're so...
Hey, Mickey.
Do you remember that song?
Oh mate, it's a banger. You kidding me?
Hold on, I'm just going to put you in my ears better. That's better.
Oh, okay.
Hearing you more here.
Oh, hello.
Yeah. Read me a book, baby.
Get a bit saucy.
You've got a song out today.
Yeah. Oh no, it's going to date the podcast, but yeah.
Are you allowed to?
No. Like it's just happened. So like.
Amazing.
Yeah, it's been proper secretive because we've got a new drummer. So
okay.
Yeah, Harvey Duddles.
Was it emotional goodbye to the other drummer or?
No, well, so our lead guitarist left in February. We didn't announce anything until like May, I think. And so we did like a shuffle. So our old drummer now plays bass. I moved from bass to guitar, and then we hired a new drummer.
That's cool. The fact you can all do that.
We all shuffled around. Yeah.
How many's in the band?
Four.
Four of you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and you can play anything then?
No. I did an all right job on bass, and now I'm doing a slightly better job on guitar.
Well, we were talking about this before, though. I like your attitude to yourself as an artist because you seem quite humbled about it. I've been listening to your stuff recently and been doing my research.
Oh god.
And you're talented, man. You're really cool with it.
Thank you, man.
Have you been given that from a young age to be humble and to not have too much of an ego when you're performing?
I think, I don't know, man. I feel like it's just been sort of beaten into me where I've been like, I've been super proud of something. I'll write a song or I'll get a tune out or whatever, put it out, and then I will listen to it like either an hour later or a week later and go, that's terrible. what even, you know what I mean? It's like you hear it and you're just like, oh, I could do better than that now.
Yeah.
And so because I'm always constantly just like, you're your own worst critic.
Yeah, of course.
But I'm literally just listening to it and I'm like, I hate this.
Wanting to improve it.
Always. Like, you're always better than you were 5 minutes ago.
Yeah,
that's how I'm looking at it. So anything that I've done prior, I'm like, trash.
The Good Hustles, before lockdown, were you getting gigs booked left, right and centre? Yeah. Was it all ready to go and blow up?
It was a nightmare. So literally, as lockdown hit, so lockdown came in on what, Monday 23rd.
Yeah,
was the first day.
Bloody hell, mate! Your program, you know.
Because I remember this because we had a gig at Rescue Rooms that night.
Yeah. To
launch a song, so we had Make a Move that came out. That was supposed to be the launch night, and then on the 25th was my birthday. We were supposed to have another gig as like get everyone in. And obviously all that got cancelled.
Oh,
it
mate.
Screwed up all of our like release plans for everything. We couldn't do this like tour that we had planned.
Tour?
Yeah, we had like a bunch of gigs going around. We were doing Nottingham, York. We were going to go to Leicester and all
mate.
This. It wasn't like a crazy big tour, but it was just like we had a lot of stuff. Yeah, we had stuff lined up. But yeah, so since then we've just sort of gone through.
Who's the planner? Who's in charge of it all?
I'm not going to say me. It's kind of spread out, really. I mean, I think me and Will Peters, who is the bassist now, but he was drums before.
Okay.
Constantly emailing, calling people, like non-stop, like social media people. which is, I hate social media, so it's the worst. But I'm always on Messenger, just like,
I've got it on my to watch. Have you seen the new one about social media on Netflix?
The Social Dilemma or something?
Yeah.
I haven't seen it. It's on my watch list.
That's my tonight doing with Chrissy.
I think I'll join you with that, mate.
I'm a bit I watched a Russell Brand talk on YouTube today, and it's clearly struck him. He was just baffled by it. He did a massive rant. Yeah. So I'm looking for. That's what made me want to watch it. I was like, let's see what this is about. But
I think I spend too much time. Like, you just mindlessly scroll.
Oh, mate.
You get into that, like, oh, okay, I'll just be, and then all of a sudden it's an hour, and you're like, what have I done?
There's a book out called Irresistible, and it's about social media and the trap. But I was just listening to a podcast about it, and this guy was talking, and everything he was saying, it really confirmed in my soul what I've been going through. But it's like where you just put it away, and then you're like doing something, and then you go back through the same round of what you've just done. It's like Insta, check, right, I've checked through Facebook, check, go, and you just keep going in this circle, don't you? And then you put it away, and then you're like, but I need to recheck that I've not missed something. It's crazy, man. It's a danger, but there's a beauty to it as well. And people are like, it's either like we were talking about in the kitchen, really. This is either good or bad, and they don't really speak in them in between so much of the time. Yeah,
it's all extremes. It's like you're. I think we have it in the, like, Instagram is the best version of your life. So like, I mean, to be fair, I love it when people are just like, just having a little sit down in my garden. Yeah. You know what I mean? I'm like, it's mundane, it's boring, but I'm like, hell yeah, you were having a great day. Whereas
now you're speaking to me.
Whereas like you get some people who's just like, they'll post a selfie, but they'll airbrush the spots out.
Yeah, you've got all the filters.
I'm like, hey, if it makes you feel good, that's fine, but I just don't care. Like, it's too much.
Does. I've just got this feeling, and at the minute I'm having a daughter, she's coming into the world, and looking into the children now, and I'm getting all nervous. But what like social media shows and portrays, and it is that best version, and you've got to constantly show it. And when my daughter looks at that and is like, Dad, why is this girl so perfect all the time? It's like, because she's taken, and sorry, not just to put into sexes, because men do it as well.
Yeah, of course,
definitely everyone, and they've taken 200, 300, 400 photos, sieved through, and then found the best one, and that's the perfect version, and they're doing that all the time. It's just not realistic,
and that's the nightmare, isn't it? I feel like that with a lot of music stuff as well, in that you get not like kind of these in-between artists who still have a lot of money put into them by like a label or like, well, wherever the money comes from. And their production values are so high, so they've got like a $5,000 mic, and then something they've recorded on their phone is then like remastered, and whatever it is, and it gets put out on Insta as just like I'll whip this up in my kitchen. Kind of track. And I'm like, you awful, like, mate, if I record anything, it sounds like trash.
That's been through that, of course. It's true. How old are you, Morton?
I'm 30.
Blimey, what's the secret, man?
I know. I think
you beautiful complexion, you. Amazing.
No, it's just nothing but denial. I think it's just like, just don't look in the mirror. Don't look in the mirror. It's fine.
But has it been a journey for you then, like, to not compare yourself then to these artists, or not compare yourself to these people that are showing their perfect form and perfect music or whatever? Did you do that in the past? Do you still do that?
That's just part of why I keep off social media where I can.
Okay.
It's because like I get jealous. I'll look at another singer or another artist or whatever and just go, like, how did they get there? And then then that's when the sort of self-doubt comes in. You're just like, am I just not that good? Like, are my lyrics not good? And at the end of the day, I was like, it was driving me crazy. Yeah. Because I would then get bitter, and in the end of the day, it was just like, well, like, because all of like the Nottingham scene and like the Nottinghamshire scene, we have all of these amazing people coming out, and instead of me being like, go you, like, well played, really happy for you, really proud of you, I started to get bitter about it.
I get ya.
And I hated that, and that's just not like it's just not fun. It takes up too much energy to like be negative about stuff.
I felt that side of myself when I was younger, going into it, maybe definitely. Like 21, 22, and I couldn't even watch some of my favourite artists anymore because I was getting into like music, and then I was watching do you know Scroobius Pip?
Yeah.
Oh, I love Scroobius Pip.
Great podcast as well.
I just decided, my brain like altered on me one day. It's like, you can't watch him anymore, he's better than you. No, but I love him.
That's it.
My good soul and good side's like, no, keep a hold of him. You're supposed to be envious and want to learn from him and want to like have places to get to. to.
Yeah.
But that jealousy just crept in, and I was like, I can't watch it anymore because I
Yeah.
feel too low on myself.
But it's a little nagging voice in the back of your head, like Laurie Illingworth. I think we were talking about him earlier. Incredibly
Git.
talented, just like tall, gorgeous, athletic, just ridiculously. You know,
I thought you were describing yourself then, mate.
he's a foot taller than me. But he's just like top bloke anyway.
Yeah, he
But
is,
it's one of those where I could listen to him and be like, oh, why can't my voice sound like that, or why can't I play my instrument like that? But in reality, I'm listening to him and I'm like, this is my friend and he is amazing.
Yeah.
And instead of you could get jealous about it, but you get nothing from that.
I watched a good video, like 2-minute video on YouTube. We'll get into the YouTube later because we bloody love it.
Yeah.
But it was just explaining the natural emotions, and apparently like there's 5 natural emotions, but if left repressed they turn to these unnatural emotions. So like love repressed turns to possessiveness, anger turns to rage, but within all this fear turned to anxiety. So these are all like your animalistic natures and all normal traits.
Yeah.
But it really hit me when it was like envy turned to jealousy.
Yeah.
Because I suppose it is good to have envy as part of your DNA, and like makes you want to strive forward and better yourself.
Yeah.
Because you're seeing these artists, and if people could keep hold of envy and run with it and become a better version because they've seen something better, that's a great way to be.
That's motivation.
But
though.
it is. I just think you have to learn to channel. That's what it was said at the end of this video, is channeling these emotions. So not just repressing them, blocking them and turning off from Scroobius Pip, but feeling that emotion inside of you and going, what is it about this? And then going, oh, I just really appreciate it for this.
Yeah.
And then letting it grow you as an artist. So
Yeah, absolutely.
I suppose that'd be my word for young artists coming up who are feeling that. Don't repress it. Don't block it out and pretend it's not there. Feel it.
Go for it. No, it's like, I've been doing this thing.
Always got to be a spokesman, Anna. Out with the people.
You did the superhero pose.
Yeah.
That's so good.
You know what I mean? It's dressed like this as well. Clumsy little daft pants on.
Oh man, no, I've been doing this thing literally for this reason. I've been listening to a new album or something I've never heard before, or from an artist that I hate.
Okay.
I've been doing it every day this year.
That's cool.
And I'm making a playlist of like, I take my favourite track from the album and put it on. And so I've been listening to people I would literally never listen to out of choice.
Who are we talking?
I mean,
here?
we're talking everything from like, I mean, not that I don't like Kanye West, but like I love his first 2 albums,
yeah.
and then I thought everything else was after that was awful.
Yeah.
So I heard his most recent album, and I had everything from like Death Grips, who were like proper death metal with rap and all this kind of stuff, and just all over the place in terms of genre.
Yeah.
And the whole point of it is for me to listen to it and go, why don't I like this? What do I like about it? What would I do differently if I did this? And then trying to take something from that and putting it into...
That's really cool. I love that you're doing that.
It's been really good so far.
I've been on, like, I was just listening to podcasts solely because, like, in the day when I'm just getting on with stuff, I like just having somebody there, like Joe Rogan in my ear, just to let me know what's going on, and I'll literally, like, come in and out of the chat, and I'm like, they're talking about what now? Like, where are we at?
How did we get here?
But I've just overdone it. I'd give myself information, and I just tired myself out. That's the word, isn't it?
You got there.
I fatigued myself with just taking on like words all the time. So I was like, right, I need to get into music again. So I put on Spotify and I made a playlist. But I started like adding songs that I'd never heard of into it, and it keeps coming in and it's taking me down rabbit holes and paths of other artists. Yeah, I feel like I'm on a rediscovery of music again at the minute.
I love that though. That's the thing, like, because we did this last week. I had a bit of a moment to myself where I was listening to Wiltwood Flower.
Yeah,
and she's amazing. And then
I'm looking to get her on the back of the bus. I want you guys on as well.
Mate, I'll get.
Hey, I could get you all 3 of you in.
Yeah, go for it.
The plan. It's all coming together.
No,
you best be listening, Wiltwood Flower.
Nah, Mickey's great. It's one of these where I'm like, I've known her since she moved here. So
okay.
I think because I got her to do like a video together where we just sang one of her songs.
Right.
And it was just like a, welcome to the scene sort of thing, I guess. I don't know. She was just lovely. And it was one of those where I was listening to her and I was like, she's now part of the scene. And I went on this huge Instagram rant where I just kept tagging people and being like, this, like Sam Heaton, listen to his band, or like X-Checker, listen to them, and like Laurie, and I was tagging all these people. I tagged you in it, and like Johnny Ollie and all that, and I'm like,
oh yeah,
because there's so many people.
Man, yeah.
No, it's one of those things where like, there is so much good music locally.
Yeah.
I mean, as well as outside. But like, if you listen to, you put on like Pretty Babs, right?
Yeah.
You put on Pretty Babs, and then just do the Spotify radio after, and you get nothing but like local rock bands.
Yeah,
and it's just the coolest thing. So you're like, I didn't even know they were out there.
Exactly
like,
that, and.
But there they are.
Like a funny misconception at the minute that I keep hearing when I go to the gym or out with my old football lad mates. Like, yeah, but music scene's died, hasn't it?
No.
Music's dead. Everyone, like, they're all singing rubbish lyrics. I'm like, mate, let me just create a playlist for you to just run through of local artists who are actually doing bits and bobs. And it's not died, I promise you it hasn't.
Not at all.
Just the attitude towards it.
No one wants to... I feel like going to a gig where you don't know a single band is just like the greatest thing. Because you walk out there going, that band was brilliant, that guy's drummer, you know, you'll find something there. Even if they're all, you know.
I used to, because performing for like a few years when I was going to like poetry nights, or my favourite place to perform was actually music nights, because they weren't expecting spoken words. Yeah. And then they'd come over and go, oh mate, I don't like that poetry thing, but I like what you did. Yeah. It's always like quite a nice little ego check or something, made me feel good in that. But I stopped going as just an observer. I used to just go solely to perform. Yeah. And it can get quite toxic, can't it? Because
you don't think about what you're hearing.
Yeah, you're building up, you're thinking about how you're going to perform, X, Y, and Z. At the moment I'd stopped performing, and I've stopped for a little while now, I'm more in the back of the scene. I like making the beats or performing on a track and trying something new. Yeah. But me and Chrissy just go into music nights now and just sit in, not got any pressure about performing. It's the nicest feeling. But I do still got that little like side of me. It's like, oh, I'd love to get on that stage now.
Oh, I could do better. Yeah.
No, never better, never better.
No, just different.
Yeah, I'd be on there. People would be looking at me.
Yeah. No, that's I stopped playing at open mics. I don't really do much solo stuff anymore.
Okay.
Like, I did.
Oh, is that how you started out?
Yeah. So I think the last thing I put out solo was Ash, which I did with Laurie and Beth Key from Wildwood Kin.
They're cool, yeah.
They're amazing.
Amazing band.
Yeah, and then Charlie from Mount Street, obviously. Like Charlie played bass on that track. But that whole thing came together. Anyway, whole different thing. That was the last track I put out on my own. But I did a acoustic gig at a poetry night.
Oh wow!
So I went to Surface Gallery and they had like a whole thing on.
What was the night called?
I can't remember. Kaya Histova was the one who organised it. That's what I know.
So yeah, we'll keep to that now.
Yeah, but it was. But I literally played Ash, which is this like big heartbroken song or whatever, and I literally just put all my like grief and depression into it.
So and what then inspired you about this song?
It was just like a bit of a bad breakup song.
Yeah. Oh, really?
You know what I mean? It was one. Okay. It's just one of those where like it wasn't one specific breakup. It was sort of everything.
A culmination of breakups.
And it was like I dragged every bad memory from wherever and then put it into that.
Wow.
And then as soon as the track was out, I was like, I think I'm done.
How did it feel writing that at the time?
So cathartic, mate.
Was it?
Yeah, because you have so much of it that you don't realise you're carrying.
Yeah.
And then you finally put it down on paper and you're like, oh wow, do I actually feel like that? But that's the thing, was like playing at this show, I had a guy come up to a poet.
Amazing.
Can't remember his last name, but his name was Chris. Lovely guy.
Oh, I think I know him. I know a Chris poet.
We all know Chris. But he came up to me and he'd obviously gone on before me and was amazing.
Awesome.
He came up after.
I bet I do know him actually.
Yeah,
Is it in Nottingham?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know a good Chris poet from
There you go.
So
Well, hopefully it's the same.
Yeah, you're really good, mate. I like you.
But he came up to me after and he was like, oh, he quoted one of my lyrics back at me.
Wow.
And he was like,
that's a big one.
And he was like, that really hit me, mate. That was
wow. And I've actually just got shivers.
That's the
under
thing.
My little weird, like,
in your fleece.
Yeah, my little fleece. I just got shivers then, mate.
But I just had that. But
what was the line?
If you're a storm, I'm just a swell.
Wow.
Yeah. So the whole point was like, you know, you're better than I am.
Don't break this fall down for me. Don't you patronise me. No, come on.
But that was like, the whole idea was me trying to come to terms with the fact that like I meant a little bit less to a certain person than I thought I did. And so I was like, you know, they're the storm and I'm just sort of a swell.
Wow, okay.
But this guy came out and he was like, that really hit me and I really appreciated it. And I had that minute where I stood there for a second. I was like, did I even write that? Like, I'm sure I wrote that. I definitely sang it, but you do this thing where if you're always constantly gigging or you're always so focused on your performance rather than what you're actually doing, I hadn't been paying attention to the lyrics at all. I wasn't feeling it. I was just performing it.
Yeah, I get ya.
And that's why I just stopped doing solo stuff, because I was just like, because my heart wasn't in it at that point.
Mate, what you just said then, I've never said it in them words, but that's how I got to. That was definitely the level. I was just in the rhythm of it. I didn't know what I just performed. I just knew it, but the audience could feel it. I knew they could.
Yeah,
the vibe was there, the energy. I just couldn't give it that. And people were like, "Why aren't you performing anymore?" My mum was always like, "Why weren't you going out and doing them things?" Like, it just wasn't here for me.
Yeah.
But the initial thing that got me on the stage was the rawness, the energy. I needed to feel appreciated. But after I'd had all that and I'd seen that side, I was like comforted in that fact, and I was like, I can relax now. I've had that. Let other people come and do their thing
and appreciate them. And
I do, exactly. And I do still have enjoyment on the stage now, like just being rhythmical and playful with it. But in the times of like the really deep depression points and the painful breakups, I can't go and give that energy that poem or song deserves.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, totally. But like, you have to do it justice. I think that's what was so refreshing about getting the band together. Was like, even now, it will be in the rehearsal studio, and there'll be no one around, and it's a soundproof room. No one's hearing it. It's just us.
Yeah, that's where I feel most comfortable now.
Well, that's the thing. We're doing it, and we're still going nuts. We're like running around the room, we're jumping around, and I'm like, no one knows this. This is just for us.
Yes.
And I'm like, if I'm having this much fun in a closed room, imagine what it's going to be like in front of a crowd. And I'm like, but that's where we're at now, is that like, if we write something, if we don't get to that level of like hype about it, we just don't bother.
Really?
We just stop. We scrapped. We literally, like, over lockdown, we wrote 15, 17 songs. Literally, so many, and demoed them all, did everything, literally all over Zoom and whatever. Like, it was a nightmare. But yeah.
I'm envious of you here, mate. Just to have that relationship over music with people. I've never really had that. Like, it's quite a solo thing I do. And I always say to all my friends, like Matt from Pretty Babs, and I don't know, he's not, is Matt in Pretty Babs? I think
so.
He does bits and bobs. But I always say to my music friends that have been in bands, it's like, that's my one side where I get quite envious, because I love feeling the vibe that you guys create for us as the audience, but actually being on that stage, creating it together, the aftermath where you're out to the pub together and just chatting about, how good was that gig? Like, I've only really sensed it in terms of on the football field or in a rugby pitch, like with mates. But I just think there's something, I said it in the Molly Ralph one, there's something other created with music, and that otherness you're all feeling together and understanding.
Her band are nuts as well. There's like, what, 10 people?
Yeah, she was saying, she's just like, put spells on, cast them out, you're out.
Yeah, I know.
You're ruthless, girl.
Oh, she was savage.
I love it.
No, but I mean, but again, it's like we were saying about Bowie, of just like, if it's not perfect, then there's no point doing it. You've
got to create what you're after.
Yeah. But that's what I mean with these songs that we did over lockdown. Yeah. We wrote that many, and I think of that 17, we've kept 3 or 4 because the other ones just didn't. It's like that, what's the name from Netflix, does this spark joy?
Okay,
this does not spark joy, and we just like chucked it out. But that's the thing, we've got so many like dummy ideas that are just been cast aside because they're just not as good.
I've been on both ends of the scale, and I think going back to what you're saying before, my learning when I'm doing with my songs, it's not like the writing process. The writing process, of course, is cathartic and really healing, but I've realised yesterday I was walking with my own songs. I don't know how egotistic this starts to sound, but it's going to get really egotistic. I planned it in my head. I was like, this is actually quite bad.
It's self-care.
Yeah. So it wasn't that process though. It wasn't the writing it, and then it wasn't the performing it or anything for me. But I was walking to the gym with me on. And I listened back to what I'd said, and that was my learning. I started to like get quite really emotional on the way to the gym, and I was just telling myself truths all that way to the gym. And it started to get me. I was getting really, I had to have a minute out. And I was like, wow, this is the learning stage. It's like you've gone through it, you wrote it in the moment, the heat, and then say a month later, maybe 2 months later, you listen back to it and you're like, that's what I wanted to say. That was what I was trying to get out. And yeah, that was the big learner for me, was sort of like reflecting back. It's such a powerful feeling, isn't it?
But that's the thing, that's like what we were saying before, of just like you from 5 minutes from now will always be better than you just were. So like you going back and listening to a track from 2 months ago, you're not that person anymore. And so you can listen to that and be like, wow, I put that, and I wrote that down, I put that track out, and I've dealt with whatever subject that was and moved on. And so now I can look back at it and be like, okay, yeah. Fair play. Like, you know what I mean? And you can put it behind you.
And it's funny, like, in the midst of it all, like, I did this one, it's about 10-minute long poem, but it's a story.
Yeah.
And it's very much probably the closest to my truth. There's two. There's one that my book's about called Life's Beautiful Game. But the other one is about depression and suicide. And I've been so close to that rope before. Really close. And I remember in the midst of it, when I was writing it out, just everything on the page just going for pages and pages, I'm not editing a thing, this is what it is, because this is what I want to say. And then I turned it into a film, and I put it with my mate, and I got all the production and the crew together. It took probably a month, but it was also crazy and hazy together, just making it. And then it must have been a year on, and I just listened to it back, like, let's just see what I was about, let's see what I did. I couldn't get through it. And it was this line, it was like, time to learn to ride the waves during turbulent weather. And it's quite rhythmical as you say it, and it hit me, and I was like, that's what I've been doing, just trying to ride these waves when it's all been so chaotic and crazy. And I was like, wow, I got quite proud of myself in that moment to get away from the deep darkness. And it kicked me, man. It kicked me hard.
That's the thing. It's just perspective. You've got perspective now. That's the thing. And I think
it's like writing a diary or a journal, really, isn't it? That's
exactly.
Basically,
it's
what
just
we're
letters
doing.
to your future self, kind of thing.
Yeah.
But like you're as bad as I am in that, like, you'll always have so many things on at the same time. That eventually you don't really appreciate what you've done until it's finished.
That's basically it. Yeah.
And then you look back and you're like, actually, we did a great thing there.
Yeah.
Like, we put in so much effort, and it turned out, and it's amazing.
And that's the only thing, what you said about you're only bringing them 3 things out. I suppose the one thing I'm kind of happy with, I got through this period where it's like a year where we just try and make as many songs as we could, like one a week.
Yeah.
But I've documented all that, so I've put all of them on YouTube, and I'm not really proud of some of them. I'm like, bloody hell, you cannot. For Rhythmical, mate, you've got no rhythm, mate. Where's all your sense of rhythm? On, off beat. But I was listening to them back again the other day, and I was like, I'm really proud to just watch it, how I've grown as an artist, and document them things. Like all the days we've been in the studio and performed and lost all that. I was actually watching the films that I'd done with my mate B-Tone back in the day. Just flipped me back on.
Yeah.
Come on,
I've always wondered, listening to the podcast, I've always wondered what that noise was. Now I'm like,
now you know.
Camera.
But yeah, I was listening back to the stuff, and I'm not like overly proud of it on a whole, on its own merit.
But it's the process.
But the whole process, and me and Ben, do you know Ben from Pretty Babs as well?
Yeah,
Ben, we were talking about it, and we're like, his old uni lecturer was like, just get it out, do something, get it out, promote, and go again. And you'll see that process. So I'm kind of happy I've documented that.
And you can see the stepping stones to get to like the next track.
Look back at and see.
That's my favourite thing, is like the inception of an idea. Is like, that's my favourite. We were talking about it before with like movies and whatever.
Yeah.
When someone gets a genuinely good idea, and you can see like a little spark of it somewhere, and then it comes, and then like years later you hear the like Hans Zimmer. I'll never shut up about this composer, but Hans Zimmer, he did like Pirates of the Caribbean, Gladiator, Dark Knight, or whatever. There is a song from the Gladiator soundtrack, which is he wrote in 1999, that literally is like dun 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 dun, and it's just that little riff. And then 6 years later, he basically got to take that little bit and turn it into the huge score that was like Pirates of the Caribbean.
That's what I'm saying. Like, how does certain little jigs like that just get so big?
Exactly.
Why is it that to the human consciousness, or to whatever we feel inside, when that comes on, like when you did it then,
you get hype.
I got hype, man. My heart started pulsing. It's saying like the Harry Potter theme tune or something.
John Williams.
Just as soon as a theme tune comes on, that your body or your soul just recognises, like, right, I'm in.
That's the thing, is like, when you have a genuinely good idea, it will persist through whatever you're doing. So I guarantee, if you go back and listen to your thing a week from that year, there'll be like a rhythm or a lyric or a concept that you will have taken with you. Because it will be genuinely good. And even though it wasn't like fully formed at that point, you'll still have it with you. And I love that idea.
I wonder if, though, there's a big artist or a big band that have created something and that thing just hasn't taken off, and they're just like, how? Do you know what I mean? Like, say Wonderwall, that went massive. Everyone gets around the campfire, starts playing it. And I wonder if the guy could, like, he sat there and thought, yeah, but what about this song? Like, this was my baby. Yeah. This was the one I'm most proud of, but everyone navigated to that. I wonder what it is about the sound that, is it the marketing? Is it the media behind it? Or is it just a sound that we all connect with and we're just like, that resonate? Do you know what I mean?
I think if anyone knew that, I think we'd all be
we'd be millionaires. Some people have just hit that flow.
Yeah, like, you know, how did Crazy Frog get massive? You know what I mean? It's just
of course.
But you can still, the thing is, that came out, what, 20 years ago?
And straight away you said it and I was like, ding, ding, ding. Do you know why I know that so well, though? This is funny. For school, I was the naughty kid at school, man. Really.
I've heard.
Yeah. I ended up, like, we had to do music performances and I bloody hated music, but I just went away with my mate and we're like, we need to do something wild. So we're like, what's in Crazy Frog? So we're like, we're gonna do Crazy Frog. But I got dressed up as a frog.
Oh my god.
My mate got dressed up as well, and we're literally, everyone's taking it serious, like, here's my rendition of Wonderwall. And then he's like, right, what have you guys got? Thinking we'd do nothing, and then we're like really ready for it, and we started running around the classroom.
Oh my god.
And we're on the tables going ring ding 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 ding. And it was me and like the other naughtiest kid from school were just running around,
losing it,
being chaos. But we got, I think, like a B for it because like the creativity and daringness.
Just the balls on you to do that. But that's the thing, part of that performance you've taken with you.
Something came through.
Next gig, next track you drop, I want at least one ding ding, like just hidden in there somewhere.
Before we started doing this, we were conversing over Nujabes. Is that something do you create beats and things, or
I listen to so much just instrumental hip hop and like old school rap. I was saying before,
lo-fi stuff.
Like just because I feel like there's something so calming about it, and you can just have it and you can relax. And a lot of the time it's like brain dead stuff, but with like Nujabes and like Cut Chemist, DJ Shadow, all that kind of stuff, it's so complex, and you have like all of these like multiple layers that are all specifically designed to make you feel a certain way. So like,
or people on things, start reaching through the layers of stuff.
Yeah, man. But no, I've been sort of messing around with a few bits, especially like with the band. We were in a routine of just like going to Will's place, having a couple of beers, and just making a beat.
Ace.
And it wouldn't go anywhere. It was just for us. And then one or two of them are just getting there.
Okay.
And I'm like, I don't know whether or not there's like we make a joke about it of just like lo-fi hip hop beats to hustle to, and all like it's probably never going to happen, but like it's just fun. It's nice to make, because like we do a load of stuff with like I had like a vocal loop pedal and then a guitar and then piano and then like these lo-fi drums coming in.
Nice.
And just stuff like that.
You're speaking my language here.
Well, that's the thing. It's just fun.
Listening to all your stuff, and you always, like I say, come up on Instagram.
Yeah.
And I'm always just clicking like, what's he up to? And you've got this really nice voice that I'm about.
Thank you.
So you behave.
You.
But yeah, I'd love to do like a lo-fi track with you or something.
Yeah, man.
Are you up for that?
I'm well up for it.
You've all heard it on here. Like, I've got this. This is a contract, a verbal contract.
I'm being held hostage.
Yeah.
Please help.
Chrissy has got a shotgun pointed at that outside the window. So, how would you describe the Good Hustle sound? What? How did you all get together at that point?
I mean, we started off as kind of like a quite classic rock, to be fair.
Okay.
Yeah, so like we'd all met through like the open mic scene and all that kind of stuff. Like we'd all seen each other live.
As
solo acts.
Oh, this is nice.
And then we drank.
Stars aligned.
Yeah, exactly. Well, yeah. No, I felt pretty blessed for a while. And then it all sort of came together because we wanted to make like this kind of hybrid of like classic rock, but with, I don't know, like alternative rock and emo and all this kind of stuff, and just get everything together. So like our first EP is like 4 different genres across 4 tracks.
Wow.
Because we just couldn't figure it out. And then we've just sort of been making slight changes towards like that. And with Will Bewley was our like top lead guitarist. Is the he left in, I think I can't remember when he told us and then when we told the public. I think it was like April and May or something, or like February and May. I can't remember. But it was all on good terms. Like, we're still mates, whatever. We just want to do different stuff.
Yeah.
But we then got, like I said, we had all of this space then with just like me, Nathan, and Will, like the other Will, to just sit back and write.
Come on, folks, catch up.
Yeah, there's too many. Yeah, and we had all this sort of space to write, and that's when we were like, okay, what have we done before? What's worked? What do we enjoy as a band? You know, what made us run around the room, jump around the room, and that's where we tried to like drill into that sound. So that's what we've been working on.
Ace.
So we wrote, like I said, we wrote all of these like 17 or however many tracks it was, and we sort of pinpointed from there where we wanted to go.
Yes, yeah.
And after months of sort of like deliberating, we got Harvey Duddles on board to play on drums, and he's just phenomenal anyway.
Really?
But it was one of these where like I called him and I was like, right, you can't tell anyone. We can't talk about it until we have something solid. Like, you know,
Voldemort.
yeah, we should not mention it.
Yeah.
I called him and he was like, mate, I play your songs to like warm up. Like, literally,
Wow.
because he was like a fan of the music anyway, kind of thing.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, because I mean, he used to be in Fading Blonde, and I loved them. They're like such a sick band, and it was one of those where I was like, we always would watch them and appreciate how tight and well rehearsed they were. And so when he became like a free agent off the back of that, we were like, let's get him in. And so now we're just like, now it's
Football transfer markets.
oh
just
mate, it
opened
was
up.
so yeah. But it was just one of those where like now we're in a spot where we're all making music where we're all on board with it. I think like early on in the band there was a lot of like 3 out of 4 would be happy, or 2 out of 4 would be happy, or like maybe there'd just be one track where it was just me going, no, we're gonna play this. Like, and the three of them would hate it, you know. But I think now we're all sort of pulling in the same direction, which is nice. But
Is there conflict?
always
Is there?
But it's a good thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Like you're saying before, it builds you to that best version of you. Like,
exactly.
If you're just so placid and it's like whatever on this sort of level,
then you put crap out.
nothing gets. It's just procrastinating. Nothing gets done.
Yeah.
But it shows that there's passion infused. If people are arguing, it's like because you all want the best thing out of it. I've set up like silly companies with your mates after some beers before. We do it for like a few weeks, and it's like, what should we do here? Don't know.
It doesn't matter.
Nobody really bothers putting it. The thing for me is why I went solo is because I've got a bit of a strange attitude. I'm just really tenacious. I get stuff done.
You're hyper focused as well. You're so much better than that.
For like when I started getting into the scene, for about a year or 2 years, I literally went everywhere. It was like Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday.
Yeah.
I'd go to every gig around the country. It's Wakefield one day, over here, there, trying everything. And I just went crazy with it. And then when I was like, let's work together and do the filmmaking thing and the production thing. We can work as a team. When I felt they weren't working at that rate, it just started to get me a bit.
Yeah.
But I think you do have to just find people on your vibes and levels that have that energy and put it in that certain way.
And the commitment to it.
Do you feel you found that? Is it
absolutely? Like, I think I might have mentioned it before, but like Will Peters, so he's so blunt. He's gonna listen to this and he's gonna be like, oh, well, you stitched me up here. But I'll put an idea out, or I'll put it in the WhatsApp or whatever, and I'll have played it at home, like, you know, just in my kitchen, and record it on my phone, send it out, and I'll go, I'm really happy with this idea, and he'll come back and he'll go, this chorus is a bit generic.
Oh,
you know, and it'll go, oh, we've used that lyric before, and I really have to swallow my pride and be like, he's right.
Yes,
because you have to.
You really need somebody like that in your life.
Yeah,
man.
and I realise that like he's not doing it to be spiteful. He's literally he's right, and he's saying it to be like, you can do better.
And I'm sure if you had a really reason for it, though, and you say, no, I want it in for this purpose, it is then right. He'd listen and go, yeah, absolutely. There's a point for that.
But but the thing is, like, we've now all got to that point where we can all sort of take criticism and give criticism constructively. And that's like such a weird thing, because obviously, like, they're my best mates, and it's great to just hang out with them and chill out and whatever. But then if one of them says something just like, no, you can do better, mate. They genuinely mean that. It isn't like, this is terrible, I don't like this. It means this is good, but you can do better.
And do they all put the same energy into the band? Are you all
It's non-stop. It literally, like, I'm sure right now my phone's on silent in my pocket. I've left it. I'm certain it's bringing right now. Like
the new track, like,
yeah.
Why aren't you promoting it?
Why aren't you on Facebook right now talking about the track? Yeah, man.
Spamming everybody's emails.
It's non-stop.
Yeah,
and Harvey's like,
that's
Harvey's
what
new.
The recipe for what works though for me. Like
exactly, yeah.
You're all playing in the same game on the same field.
Yeah. But that's what I'm saying. Like we got Harvey in. He's brand new into the band. Off the back, he was like, right. I've contacted this person.
Yeah.
I've messaged these. I've submitted the track to this, to these websites. And we're like, we didn't ask you to do that. You've just done it. Yeah. And it was one of these where I was like, oh wow, he's actually, because you've got the passion for it and you're just like going for it. And I think that was a bit of a kick up the ass for us as well, because we were
nothing nicer when you're all like vibing off of each other, like in the studio setting scene. You're like, mate, go in that and smash it and give it the best you've got. And then you come out and they're all cheering, like, so exciting. But then you're like, where are we going next? And you're building up plans together. Just sounds so exciting.
It's fun. That's the thing. But if it isn't fun, then we don't do it. And that's exactly how it has to be. It's like if we were. Like you said, when you were playing songs and you just didn't feel it, you were just sort of doing it.
Yeah, definitely been there.
We had a spot where our set list was the same for about 6 months.
Okay.
And we played, I don't know, 20 gigs or whatever. And at the last one, I was like, okay, I'm kind of sick of every word of this. And so now I think we've saved 2 songs from that, and we're doing it's all new material for when we actually get back out.
Full revamp, facelift.
Yeah, just because it's, we need it to be fresh, we need it to be fun.
Do you think the only way to perform well is by feeling? You've got to like... the words that you're coming out with, you've got to not just experienced it, but have an element of that inside you at that time.
I think it helps, definitely. I feel like there are some people who
can just switch it on.
Yeah, but I feel like that's the difference between people like good artists or good. Okay, I can't think how it was worded. The difference between a painter and an artist. Right, okay, so it's like
hit me with this, man. I just sat up and I was like, hang on a minute.
Okay, we're in
something here.
So yeah, it's the difference between a painter and an artist and a singer and a musician. It's like you can. There are people who can copy paintings down to the tiniest little brushstroke, and they can completely forge a painting, and it can be I've painted the Mona Lisa. And it's like, well, yeah, but it's not as good because you can tell. Yeah, you can tell that you copied it, or you would you weren't really feeling it. But I think there are times where you can tell when a track comes out and someone's just singing the lyrics. Yeah, totally. But then you've got like Lady Gaga, for example. I'm not a huge fan. I can appreciate her like just as a musician, but I saw her I watched A Star Is Born. Yeah. And she did this performance, I'll Never Love Again. Her friend had just died. And I think she'd found out that day. She got in and she sang it. Wow. And you can hear it, you can tell, and it's mind-blowing, because it's like, even if I don't like your music, even if I don't like this song, no one can ever tell me that isn't a fantastic performance. Yes, and that's the difference between a painter and an artist, is like you've got the passion, and you can immediately tell when someone's faking it. I hate it when people are just like, yo, that music's shit. Or that music's just not good, and it's like, no, but can't you just appreciate the skill of it? Even if it's screamo or whatever it is, it's like, look how much skill that person's got in doing that. It's so difficult. Riffs. Yeah, I tell you what, like mine is Mac Miller, but his NPR session. Oh, it's so good, mate. But like, genuinely, the amount of pain in that human at that time, you can feel it every time it goes quiet, the music's off, his uncomfortability, he doesn't know what to say, how to communicate, and then he goes into the music and his rawness is there, he means it, but that's his only time where he seems to be able to switch off, is like just in that vibe. Yeah, performative. Anything other than that, you see the mind ticking and he's going. So yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about when you're on about artists that give their whole self, that whole rawness on stage. Yeah. And I'm trying to just think if I have had to click into that when I'm not feeling. I've got a poem about my friend that died to a knife crime incident. Right. And you can always seem to, like, even however long that's been, when you reflect back to it and you know what it's for and what it's about and who it's to, I have managed. You can get in that mindset and that vibe, but that's something quite harrowing and really have to search for that feeling. Yeah. And I've met a few artists that, like, before going on stage, they've been like really getting in the zone, they call it, and having to just recollect what they're gonna
go through. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, totally. You have to like get yourself. It's like a mindset.
Yeah.
Like, there are pictures of us that I've taken backstage where I'll just like sneak a picture of someone just like getting into it. But like Nathan is our guitarist now, and he zones out and he's just gone for about 5 minutes before we go on, because he suffers with such bad stage fright, and he gets physically sick over it, and he's really like, I have to be the best, and he'll just zone out.
But that's somewhat the difference with lyricism and instrumental, because the lyricisms have been given an energy. They've got meaning, and there's something into them. Whereas my mate Nick McCann, who's one of the most amazing guitarists I know as well, just plays a 20-minute, 30-minute instrumental set, but I could sit through that all day. And he's just gone as well. But I suppose they've got the look where it's just the music that they're putting the energy in towards. You know what I mean? The lyrics lose their meaning. It's hard to create that. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Whereas do you know what I mean?
No, but do you know what I mean, mate? No, but like that's the thing with like, because Nathan's amazing. To be fair, they like everyone in the band, they all make their own music anyway. But Nath does these. We've been working on like a musical and stuff, and doing a bunch of like side projects and whatever. Everyone has like Will Peters just put out a solo EP. But they both do these instrumental tracks every now and then.
Cool.
And even though you don't know, even though there's no lyrics to it, you know what that song's about. You can feel it. You know what I mean? And I feel like that's like, even if it's an instrumental track, you've got to get in the headset, to play it right.
I can give a good example, like, because I've been going into schools for a long time, obviously not very much anymore.
Yeah, bit of a nightmare.
You've got to go in, keep this big energy up, be like, hi guys, and get them all ready for it, and put on this face and fake it a little bit if you're not feeling that.
Yeah.
But the thing is, like, the content I've got for children in like primary schools is all my nice stuff, so like smile, you've got this and whatnot. And when I'm living quite a struggling life back home, like in a relationship or having just my low patches or depressed days, which everyone's allowed to do or allotted to do, I have to go to a school and perform, you've got this. Now I can see your pain, and I know I've not been living that lifestyle of knowing you've got this. It's really hard to then perform that, because you're just like, maybe you haven't got this.
Maybe you're having a bad day.
And I do believe everyone has got this, but when I'm trying to tell other people it and I don't feel it, it's really tricky in that moment.
But that's when you have to sort of, it's not for you. It's for them.
That's a good attitude, mate.
You just got to get over, not get over it.
Yeah,
but
I know what you're saying.
You got to realise that there's a more important message. Like I tell you what, we played. We got this track, Make a Move.
Don't you feel you're lying to them when you're like, the world's terrible?
It's actually awful.
Sorry, kids.
It doesn't get better at all. Now we got this track, Make a Move, and it's about basically about a friend of mine who couldn't. He came out to his parents and they were awful to him about it. They just hate it. So he was like, Mum, Dad, I'm gay. And instead of being receptive and like open to it, they just kicked him out. They hated it.
Wow.
Awful. They're just trash. It's one of those where I'm like, look, you can have you're entitled to an opinion.
Family's blood, but like it doesn't have to go any further than that.
I don't know. I don't really family's blood, but like at the end of the day, they're sort of forced to put up with you.
Whereas I think, that's what I'm saying.
You've got
his only blood at times in that moment.
And so the whole song was just about our friend group at the time, just being like, we all know you didn't have to tell us. It doesn't matter. You're going to be fine. And we've got you. And so we played that track at this pub in Newark in the Nav, and we showed up and there was like 6 people in the bar, and I'm like, we've got to play a 45-minute set here. This is going to be weird. So we just went for it, and it ended up being like one of the most fun gigs we've ever done, because more and more people came in, got more out, and it's like this pub in the middle of nowhere, and I'm thinking like no one's really going to be listening, no one's going to be paying attention. At the end of it, I had this old fella come up, and he's in his mid-50s.
Okay.
He's got the grey in his beard, he's got his glasses on.
I know the type.
And he came up and he was like, I never dance. I never get up and dance. I never feel comfortable because I think people are going to think that I'm a bit feminine. He didn't say that word, but I'm not going to say the word.
Yeah.
But he was like, people are going to think that, I'm different. And he was like, but you got me up. You got me dancing.
Wow.
And I had that kind of minute where I was like, I was having a miserable time when I showed up here. And I thought, you know, because I just wasn't feeling it. I was, you know, I was tired. I was, you know, probably a bit hungover. Like, but it's one of those where I was like, at the end of the day, I've reached someone.
Yeah.
And I got genuinely emotional.
Wow.
Like, talking to him. And I was just like, you have no idea how much that means. Like, that's awesome. And I still think about it. And like, so when I have those minutes where I'm like, yeah, I'm just performing the song.
Yeah.
I'm like, you've still got to.
You don't know what you're actually doing in that moment.
Or who's hearing
Yeah, that's powerful.
it. Or who needs to hear it.
Yes.
And
beautiful,
that's it.
Man.
And that's all you need to think about. So it's like, and that's why I'm more focused on now on being like, right, what we're putting out needs to be the best that it can be. Because even if it's like a throwaway line, someone can cling to that. Someone can hear themselves in it. And, you know, and it can help.
Yeah.
Like, maybe.
Yeah. There's 30 different people in that one room, and they're all going to perceive it in a very different way.
Exactly.
And one of them at that perfect time just heard it. Yeah, that's beautiful, man. I'm going to change. You've just given me a little bit of an epiphany moment there. It's really beautiful.
No, but you compare this to us talking before and just being like, I hate my music, I can't live. And then now we're just like, no, everything's brilliant.
Yeah. This is like therapy session, isn't it?
But that's the thing. They have to. They listen to it. I don't listen to my own music, so it's fine.
Yeah.
I don't have to worry about it.
That's true. Like Mighty Skin, I'm really a big fan of the Streets.
Yeah, and something gave that away.
Oh, yeah. And then his Dry Your Eyes, mate, after a breakup, like literally one day towards the gym, he just spoke to me the whole way there. I was like putting it on repeat. It came on shuffle, and then I was like, this is what I need right now. And the whole way, and that just got me on to the albums, and I started going down that rabbit hole. And so when I met him a few times, I met him in Birmingham when he was performing, and I sort of carried that with me of what he'd done to me on that day to meet him, and I was like really fangirling him, like, Mark, you don't know what you did to me, Mark. He doesn't owe me anything though, and I sort of felt I wanted to show him how much he meant. You know what I mean? Yeah. Because it was so profound that day.
This is what you've done.
And I suppose as an artist to get to that level and speak to that many people, it must be really quite alien. Do you know?
I can't imagine it.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
yeah. Like I'm presuming there's a lot of Mikey Markhams there that have listened to that song after a breakup and been healed, so to speak, with it, or spoken to and held.
Well, it's like I have this. We have a friend of mine, Alex Bondarev. He's in a band in New York called Conversing with Oceans, who are brilliant. Yeah. But we met because I think I mentioned it before. Like, I heard his song over Reddit.
Okay, yeah,
he just posted something, and it was just like a nice song about. I mean, I interpreted it. It's called The Gold Rush, and the way I heard it was like him basically singing about how he met his girlfriend, and how like it felt like he'd hit the jackpot kind of thing, and it was like this whole nice thing. So I did a cover of it and sent it to him because I was like I liked it. You know, I really enjoyed it. And we've been mates for years now, off the back of that interaction.
That one thing?
That one thing.
Oh, mate.
But it was because of that, because he was like, I'm glad that it hit you. And then, and we're mates now. But is that
where you got the gig in New York?
This is the guy.
Oh, cool, man.
Yeah. So, like, we'd obviously, like, started speaking, and we just became mates. Yeah. And so I went out there in 2016, and he got me a couple of gigs and whatever, and we just hung out, which was awesome. Yeah. But it was just one of those weird things of like, don't meet strangers off the internet. But like, I did. It was cool. He introduced us to like a bunch of people. So when the hustle stuff started picking up, he just goes, look, if you're free in November, come up. And me and my friends will lend you the instruments, and like, our mate John Black like lent us all the instruments and did all of our production for us.
Wow.
And all this. But it was one of those where I got to meet his wife and his children, and I'm like, I had this minute of like, we're meeting because of the song that you wrote about her, because I liked it, and it was one of those where I was like, how the hell did I end up here? How did that happen? It was just this like miracle of coincidences to get to that spot, and it was just like, imagine if I just didn't bother.
Yeah,
If I didn't click that link,
Yeah.
like, everything would be completely different. Which is mental.
When you give me that list as well, it was very musical, like all the things you to talk about.
Yeah.
So does that mean music's basically been there for you throughout your life, even if it's not playing it? Was it listening to it, or is that quite a new part of your life?
Playing it's definitely more recent.
Okay.
I mean, obviously I'm old. So.
yeah. No, you said 30, man. I'm looking at a totally different light.
I know.
I thought I was talking to some like 19-year-old today.
Yeah,
Come on, kid. I'll talk to you about life and things.
Get in the back of the bus.
Yeah.
No, man. I've always listened to music. It's just one of those, like, my dad would consistently have like music on in the car or whatever. Cool. And my brother was like a huge, like, he was a massive Oasis fan. Introduced me to the Stereophonics and like Blur, and so I'd always have CDs thrown at me, but I never actually played anything, never sang. I sort of did like a little bit here and there, but was never really that fussed.
Right.
And then I saw a movie called Once. Yeah.
Who's that?
It's a musician. It's Glenn Hansard. It's a guy. It's this Irish guy, and the whole plot of the movie is he's a busker in Ireland. He meets a random woman who's selling flowers on the street, who's played by another singer called Mark Glover. The whole movie is just them collaborating and writing songs together.
Oh, no, I'm into this.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
You've
given me so many film
man.
references to watch today before this. Like, we've just been chatting away. I'm like,
I'll email you.
Yeah. Whole list of songs. Here we go, me again.
There you go.
Songs and films to watch.
Yeah, man. But I love doing that. Though,
Yeah,
because you're imparting wisdom. But no, like the whole soundtrack is amazing, and everything is so, because you see the background of where the songs are coming from. You're seeing why he's writing it, or like, why this lyric or this specific thing, and that made me really appreciate it. And I was like, right, I'm gonna do that. And that's when I sort of started. So I started singing properly when I was at uni.
Okay, so uni. So how old's this
I would have been 18.
No, yeah.
Yeah, so I went started going to open mics and stuff. I was awful.
Really?
So bad.
Do you think
Painful.
singing is one that you can, if you are awful, you could actually get to good at? Because even, like, do you know the X Factor people?
Oh yeah, the jokers.
As bad as it gets.
Yeah.
Do you think it is an instrument that you can get to a point on where it's listenable?
I reckon it's difficult, because I think that there are some people who are literally tone deaf.
Yeah.
But they might have a good voice and just not know. They just don't know how to use it.
What does tone deaf mean then? Like,
So, like, when you can hear, like, okay, it's like duh, 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 and you'd be like, those are 3 different notes.
Yeah. Oh right. Okay.
But some people just can't tell.
See,
they won't know.
It's, okay.
And they it's just noise, right? And I figured that, like, so it would be more difficult. Practically impossible, but it could happen.
Yeah.
What I mean? I had to yank my cable out again. Sorry, mate.
Then we're back.
Anyway,
just give
I'm
it
back.
a little tug.
But yeah, I think that you can definitely train it. It's just a muscle, and you just and then you can learn music theory. You can listen to more stuff and get your own sort of like.
Oh, what was the thing you were telling me before as well? How do you warm your voice up? Oh no, was it the girl?
The whale sound. Yeah. So so I used to play guitar with a singer called Callie Ashton. And we supported Lissy. So if you I know you don't know who Lissy is, but she is a massive singer, but she was really big in the like mid 2000s.
Okay.
She had this song called When I'm Alone. And it's when I'm alone with you, you make me feel. No, never mind.
No, don't know that one.
Totally blank.
I was so excited to be like, I know that one.
Nah, man, but she's just like this indie country darling, and she got like a really like gravelly voice, and she's amazing. And she's so nice. It's one of those where you said, don't meet your heroes. She was rad. She was so cool. Yeah, hung out with us, like, and she invited us backstage.
Inspiring.
Yeah, we're chilling out in a green room, having a whiskey and pizza with her. I was like, you're a legend. And like her guitarist Nick, they're just lovely people. Anyway, she did it. So she taught me this vocal warm up where she literally just walks around for like an hour or two before a show, and she'll start at the lowest note that she can do, all the way up to the highest one, and then all the way back down. So she literally just goes like, whoa. Whale sounds. It's so you look like an idiot. You sound like an idiot.
How long do you carry this on for?
I will do that for like an hour.
An hour?
Hour, yeah. Not like non-stop, and I'll go
yeah.
back and forth with other stuff, but it helped. Like, it's literally night and day between doing that and not doing that.
If you don't warm it up, can you injure it?
Yeah,
really,
absolutely.
Especially if you're giving like some belting out.
Yeah, well, you just can't hit the notes.
Yeah, cool.
There are times where like I'll try and do it, and if I'm too tired or I haven't warmed up or whatever, can't get.
So do you think there's some like pretty good artists who have great voices but don't train them up, and that's why they end up with like polyps and
that's what happened to Adele.
Ruptures?
Like the way that Adele sings.
Really? Oh yeah, that's what happened.
Yeah, she had vocal nodes, I think.
Right.
And
yeah.
then that's why she doesn't tour and all that sort of stuff.
Interesting.
And it's one of those where like. But then you have people like Dave Grohl, Foo Fighters.
Yeah.
He has just been screaming non-stop for 30 years, and he's fine. And it's because he's got the right technique for it, whereas like some people just proper belt and it wrecks their voice.
Because I heard that with... Had you heard Miley Cyrus, like, recently?
No.
She did a Joe Rogan. Love that man. But her podcast, her voice is so, like, husky now.
Yeah.
It was like, I'm talking like this. Like, but she'd had loads of operations on it.
Yeah.
And she said it's notoriable for people that talk a lot. So I was just trying to, like, think,
Are you
maybe
worried?
I should calm down a little bit. I don't need to sound like that yet. Like, I've had 100 fags a day for the last 20 years.
Well, no, I mean, it's different for her because I think that she was singing from the age of 5 or 6.
That must
she was
have
in
been a weird
pageants.
journey.
I don't know. It's been weird watching it
on where she's at.
I mean,
She's one of the very small, minute crowd that got out of being a child actor and superstar and came out okay.
Yeah,
from the end.
It's weird. I mean, I feel like there's a few that I don't know. That whole thing is bizarre to me. I feel like, and like pageants and beauty pageants and stuff in the States, they're so common. And
Have you seen Honey Boo Boo?
What is that? Like, what? Like, how is that, like, okay? To just put kids in, like, I don't know. The whole thing's so strange to me.
You gotta stop eating those chicken nuggets, Honey Boo Boo. Well, I can't.
I can't. Chicken nuggets is my family. Like, it's fine. I'm like, she's very funny. She's a lovely girl, whatever. But, like, that whole thing of putting kids into the limelight that soon is something so
toxic.
Alien. Yeah, because like you said, there's only a few that have come out okay.
Yeah.
But I feel like Ryan Gosling was a child star.
Was he?
Yeah, he was in Mickey Mouse Club was like a TV show. So it was him, Britney Spears, Christina Aguilera.
Right. Okay.
And like Christina Aguilera has obviously had massive issues with like depression and anxiety.
Yeah.
Same like Britney Spears is under like a what do they call it? A conservatorship or something, like where people are like looking after her because of her mental state.
Oh man, that was really sad to see that.
Oh, it sucks.
Yeah.
And like it's one of these things where like none of us know the real story, but I think that there is definite, and like Miley's been pretty open about the fact that she's had like depression and anxiety, and she's had, you know, substance abuse issues and stuff. Demi Lovato as well, massive, like she had eating disorders and everything, and it's because you've taken these young people, forced them into the limelight. People have gone mental because they're talented, they're beautiful, they can dance, you know, whatever. And then
not very sustainable, is it? Later on down the line,
suddenly they're so judged.
Yeah,
and their own body image or their own perception of who they are as a person is so warped by everyone else telling them.
Yeah,
and it wrecks it. And that's what's so weird to me. So that's why I'm kind of like, yeah, I'm not a 20-something, you know, boy in a band. Like, you know, whatever, it's fine. I might get there a little bit. I might be old by the time that I'm actually, you know, naming lights or whatever.
Yeah.
But I think at this point, I think it's kind of more healthy because I can at least approach it in a mature way, and I can take criticism, and I can take someone like goes, "You've put on a bit of weight, mate." And I'll go, yeah, I have. Yeah, I had 6 pints and a pizza this morning. Like, I'm a mess. Whereas, like, if you say you've gained weight...
You've built them barriers for yourself. You've built that resilience and that strength. Yeah.
Whereas, like, younger people just... I mean, some people can. Some people can totally do that. But I feel like a lot of people just don't have the...
endurance about them.
Yeah, and it just ruins their lives. And it's so weird to me that that's okay for us to do, you know?
That, even like that saying though, that naming lights, getting to that point, I feel like as artists, the people I'm talking to now, they're realising that that's faking itself as well.
Oh, yeah.
Like, you know, you listen to all your favourite people speak, favourite musicians, podcasts, and they always go like, I've been to the other side, and it's just so false.
Yeah.
Like, it's nice to have people singing your songs back to you, but when they're explaining the bits they enjoy about it, it's the more wholesome parts of it. It's the more like when you were talking that story about that guy that's never danced before,
Yeah.
you just got him up, and they're coming back with the same stories about that's what mattered to them. It was never the money or the exciting hotel throwing TVs out the window point. It had an element of it, but it's always the more wholesome parts of it. So it's nice to remind artists, like, you're doing it now, you're making it. That's the beauty, is just the creating, being in the studio together, jumping around.
Yeah.
Never lose that, and just lose sight and try and get to this top level, because that's when it becomes so toxic. Like, I've felt it before. I was wanting to get to them levels, and it was just ruining the whole process along the way.
Because you just ignore the little things that are good, you know?
It's a dance, isn't it? It's just supposed to be a musical thing that you just take part in the whole way. Like, even life you can see like that, though.
Totally,
you know, it's like we go to school, and you're always told the reason we're here is to get these grades, and the reason you get these grades is so you can live to go to college, and and it's always living in the future. And when you got a job, it's to get a quote or to get a top position. And again, it's building to the top, and then when you get to the end of it, it's like, oh shit, I missed the whole dance along the way.
I have not been paying attention to anything.
I forgot about all these
My wife left me years ago.
Tiny little moments that you miss along the way.
That's the best part. Like, there's I'm not going to quote The American Office or not, but I love The American Office. It's fine. But there's this one bit where the guy, Andy says, I wish there was a way to know that you were in the good old days before you've left them and you're looking back on them. And I'm like, there's something about it, and I'm like, oh yeah, it's from a cheesy American TV show. But my God, no, because it's so true. Like, because I've said this to the lads before. I've been like, right, one of my best memories of being in the band was being exhausted, sweaty, like just off stage, dripping with sweat, having to get in a car to drive home, got like a dodgy takeaway on the back, you know, all this.
Yeah.
And I'm like, but that was the best part. Was just being complete, like, adrenaline, just like, you know, absolutely amped, and just messing about with my mates.
Yeah, in the back of the car.
In the back of the car, you know what I mean? Just driving along and screaming
exactly
Green Day out the window.
Yeah.
It's so stupid, but that's the best part of it.
All together for the same purpose.
Exactly.
Then you get to have your little chats on the way back, but sometimes they are the best moments. I had that with I was doing a host in. I was being a host. I do. Why am I speaking caveman now?
I do host.
When I meet someone who's slightly more intellectual, I just dumb down 10 times. But I was hosting in Birmingham, and I just wanted all my mates with me, so I got the car, like, took it, and we just went mental on the way. And then the gig was like I was looking forward to it, but it was like one of them, just nothing really.
It was alright.
And then I remember thinking on the way back, I'm like, but it's not been wasted, because I had such a funny time there and back, and that was the beauty.
I love that.
Yeah.
Like, we played a show, there's this Canadian band called Pew Pew Pew. It's like PKEW'd 3 times. Pew, pew, pew. Like,
yeah. I like cartoons.
Yeah, it's cute. But I love them. I think they're amazing. One of my favourite bands. And I wrote a song and then with the band called Rent, and it was basically based on their style, because I was just like, I just love this band. I think they're great. I want to do a song like that. Cool. And the song's just all about having it, like, not being able to afford your rent because you've spent your week getting pissed up, hanging out with your mates, and because that's the best part of it. And we got to play a show opening for them, and we got to play that song, and they gave like us a shout out after.
Oh, bless.
And they were, you know, and we hung out with them or whatever, and I had this kind of minute of being like, I think the whole point of like getting there was the fact that I'm having so much fun, and I'm with my mates, and I'm having a couple of beers, and everything's fine. And then for them to be like, we really appreciated that. I was like, yeah, like that's rad. But in the end, I was like,
again, that would be like the connecting, making a connection, the wholesome part of it. It wasn't just the ego side coming through, like, we send their song, they think we're sick. Yeah, it was afterwards. You've connected and you made a.
Didn't even cross my mind. Did not even cross my mind that they were. They could have hated us.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. I don't think they did. I hope not. But like, no, but like, for them to just go, that was a cool thing to do, we really appreciated it, good show. I was just like, rad. We got to like connect with them and hang out.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's just the best part. Like, but the thing is, we wouldn't have got there if it wasn't fun. Like, if we weren't able to write that kind of music and like hang out with each other and actually enjoy each other's company. Do
you feel like you wished you would have got into music a lot younger, or are you happy that you had lived life a little bit and then got into it with a bit of a more mature attitude?
I mean, maybe. It's one of those, like...
Yeah, you'd never know, do you? You can speak in hypothetics all the time.
Well, yeah. But it's one of those where, like, I've got a friend... Like, a mate of mine is a singer called Will Rogers.
Yeah.
Singer-songwriter. And I will always say that, like, because Ed Sheeran got famous, Will didn't get the chance to. That's how I say. I feel like it's a crime.
Genuinely.
And he's listening to this, I know it. Yeah. But I bet he sat there just like cringing.
You have not just said that about me, mate.
just like, what? I told you not to.
Yeah.
No, but he's just, his voice is, he has a similar sort of silky voice. His lyrics are fantastic. He plays in a similar style. And it was one of those where I'm like, if you had released that a couple of years before, maybe. Then it's just like, but then you'd be the Ed Sheeran, and Ed Sheeran wouldn't have got signed. And then there'd be some dickhead on a podcast going, well, my mate Ed Sheeran's so much better. You know what I mean? Like, I think everything happens in a way, in the order it's supposed to be. I couldn't write the songs that we're writing now if I wasn't the person I am, I guess, as dumb as that sounds. But I'm sure in some alternate reality, there's a version of me that's writing better songs. He got into it at
like
age
Rick
14.
and Morty stuff now. Like.
Yeah. Oh, God. I'm you from the future.
Yeah.
Yeah, but like, I don't know. Like, I think I mentioned before, so like I interviewed Pete Wentz a few years ago. He's the bassist from Fall Out Boy. And
it's pretty cool, man.
It was rad. But it was just a very weird like set of circumstances got me in that room, but sat there like talking to him. And I hated their album, hated their latest stuff, and I was like, it's got dubstep on it, you've got auto tune, it just sounds weird. You know, what are you doing? Yeah. And I very politely was like, you know, how did you get there? Like, how how was your sound has evolved? That's fine. How did you get there? and he was,
did he feel that you didn't like it?
I reckon it came across.
He got that vibe.
I think he got it. Yeah. But I was trying to be nice because I was like, some of the tracks are brilliant, but some of them are, shit.
You have to give them start them off with good. If you're going to go bad, you have to start up here.
A shit sandwich, right?
Yeah.
So good, shit in the middle, but good on the other side. But yeah, and he worded it in a way that sort of stuck with me, where he was like, people want us to write Take This to Your Grave, which is their first album, or their first big album. He was like, people wanted us to write that album every year for the rest of our lives. And we couldn't do it because we've grown up and the situation has changed. You know, like, I'm married now, I've got kids, and I'll never be able to be in that mindset of hanging out in the back of a tour van, freezing cold, writing songs, like, because you just, things change, don't
He's got his feet up, the kid's just spelt like,
he's in his mansion.
Over. So true.
But I'm like, that makes sense, I guess. Like, you can only write what you know, and I think eventually,
and where
like,
you're at that point.
Yeah. So even if it's not exactly what the fans want, you try and sort of meet them in the middle.
Just like trying to think it now and relate it with. I love Frat Freddy's Drop. Have you heard of them?
Yeah.
Boy, but it's sometimes bad as a band or an artist to bring out something so special, and then that's all your audience that you've got at that point expect. Yeah. And then the second stuff came through, and I went to watch them one time, and I'd not heard like the new album, so I was just going with all this like energy, thinking, oh my god, I'm gonna watch what's it called, Based on a True Story is their first album. Yeah. I couldn't wait, and then we got there and they played all the new stuff, and I was totally absolutely got it, because it's all this experimental just instrumental stuff, but so electronic and different. And I think if I'd have gotten that vibe for it and I was ready, I would have appreciated it for what it is. Yeah. But I was in the reggae, calm, like relaxed vibe, just expecting that sound, and
it just didn't happen.
It took me away, man.
But but then there's the opposite side of the spectrum, right? So you've got like Queen. Queen's first couple of albums, they had like classic rock, big riffs, whatever. Everything was rad. And then they put out A Night at the Opera, which has got Bohemian Rhapsody on it and Death on Two Legs, and these big like operatic crazy tracks, so experimental for stuff at the time. You've got like them, they had like opera singers and all of this, and their label were just like, what the fuck is this? what is this? Like, we can't put this out. This song is 8 minutes long.
Yeah.
No one's ever going to play it on the radio. We'll play something else. And then they were like, no, we're putting this out. This is who we are. And people went mental for it.
Yeah.
Because it's different, it's experimental. But if if you're up for it, you just enjoy it. You know what I mean?
You've got to be daring enough as an artist to be like that,
Exactly.
haven't you? And that's what the key is, just being daring and doing the real you at that time, not trying to force something or forge what everyone else is doing in that time. It's just, this is what we are now, and this is what we want to portray. I've felt that. I've known at times where I'm writing, thinking about what everyone else is doing at that time, and it just feels so fake. It feels so not real. And then moments where it's like, right, no, that isn't me. I'm going to just create whatever's this at the moment. And that's when you can get on that stage and truly give it some again, like what we're talking about.
The passion behind it, yeah.
Yeah.
Because you believe in it.
100%.
It's like, because I struggle with, like, cover songs. Like, if someone... I don't tend to play cover songs a lot because I feel like I can't do them justice.
Yeah.
Because I didn't write it.
Yeah.
I'm just sort of imitating the feeling that they had when they, so it's weird to me. Unless you there's people who can do it and they make it their own and they have a great time and that's fine. But I feel like, I don't know, I just get in my own head about it where I'm like, if I'm going to write something, it's got to be honest, even if it's like from years ago. I'll still write about that experience and it has to mean something to me. Whereas like the second I find myself putting like the word baby in there or like an oh yeah, something, something,
oh yeah, baby,
something to specifically, put your hands in the air like you just don't care. Something in there.
Have you ever rhymed for rhyming's sake before?
Oh, dude, I try so hard not to, but you have to. Every now and then you just got to find something.
You're like, this is the perfect line and it has to finish with that word. Because it's ace, and then you're like, oh no, but what's the next couplet? Oh God, no, I'm gonna have to use the trash.
Well, okay.
Street feet on the beat, me.
Okay, I've got to know because I ask everyone this. How do you write? Because like what I do is I'll have the instrumental usually, and then I'll sing absolute gibberish over it with a melody.
Yeah.
And then I'll fit words to the syllable count. And that's how I do it.
Yeah.
So I suppose for you, is it like the opposite? You write the lyrics first and then sort of put the beat around it and then sort of tweak the lyrics?
Because when I write now, I do have instrumental on, but it's always poetry, so a line can be as long as you want it to be. Where when you're writing for music, you're trying to fit to the beat.
Yeah.
And with a very like rhythmical thought in mind. Mine's just like, right, it's whatever you want to say in that moment. So recently I've been wanting to talk about, I was telling you about the song idea I've got, virtue signalling, everyone arguing, everyone wanting to be right and point scoring. And because I'd been in nearly an argument the night before, it was so there and so raw inside, I just got on the treadmill, put instrumental on, but just wrote what I wanted to say. No editing. It was called like a free write, where you just let the whole whatever's in your soul just go down. And I was writing that, and then I'd just go back through and sieve the right parts and then go, that's a cool word to rhyme, and take that away. But I think I do try and keep it. Have you heard of free writing?
It's literally just a wall of text. It's just prose.
Meditation. It really is. And I think people, if you can just have a topic or a point or a thought, what you want to say, and then you can just let it roll and then go back through and sieve bits out. That's a technique I've really enjoyed in its time. That's something I go with. But if it's story, like I've got a few storytelling ones that I like, I will have it as like I'll pick a character, I'll have like a start, a middle and an end. I've got ideas in my head, I know where I want it to go. And then I just do the in-between bits. But yeah, just writing.
I've never done a free writing before, so
okay,
I think I've heard of it, but I've not used it.
That was something, I go into the schools, but this one, it was a primary school about 4 or 5 years ago. And because we're very conditioned as in education as kids, like this is how you write, this is how you spell, that's the emphasis and focus when you're young. That put me off writing so much, and I was told I was dyslexic so quick, so I ended up just being really naughty. And in this school, there was this one like character that I thought, oh, you're going to be a lot of fun this session. This is going to be great. But then I explained to the class free writing, and we sat down, and I was like, right, I'll give you some prompts. I'll say like, what if the elephants ran the world? And then what colour's Tuesday or something like that. And then they've just got to write what they think. And I looked over at this. It was a girl, and she was just like stopped, and I went over, and then she just started crying. I was like, "Are you alright?" And took her out and like had a chat, and she's just like, it just got too much for her. She just couldn't do it because her life and all these ideas, she was like, I can't spell, I can't write, I can't do that. And now she had so much free reign. You can't be wrong in a free write.
And she couldn't verbalise it.
She didn't know what to do.
Oh,
she was just so like, felt so what's the word? Condensed, and just she had to do it perfect every time.
Yeah.
So now we do these like little exercises and icebreakers where it's all about making mistakes first. And life's about that, and that's then going to the writing. It's all mistakes first.
So that but like that should just be taught anyway.
The emphasis, shouldn't
You've got to,
like,
that's how you learn.
You're not right first time every time.
Yeah.
You've got to go through this, and it's a process, and like get everything you want to say down on the paper, then you look back through it and you can start to sieve. But if you do the first thing, like everything's got to be correct and right, and the writing and the spelling and everything's put into that.
I'm getting tense just like you're saying it, and I'm like, oh no.
It's because I speak with such anger about it, because it's how I felt.
I've got an exam to do.
But the creativity's just sapped out of it, isn't it?
Yeah.
If all they're worried about is getting it wrong, you're not thinking of the dragons that can be flying about and the magical palaces and whatnot.
Just anything.
You're just thinking about, how do you spell palace? Yeah. So free writes, guys, if you want to get into music, you want to start writing, free writing was a good one for me. But yeah, I love the process of writing. It's just when it became a bit saturated and I was forcing it and contrived, and I was like, I'm a writer, so I need to write. I stopped living life a little bit. The more I was like, right, I'm not a writer today, I went out and lived life, and I lived a day. I got more stuff to come back and document about. So it was like just not pressurising it as well. That's where I write the best, is when I've been in the balance of life, and I've been and lived it a little, and then go back and document it.
Well, I still stand by, like, the best tracks are the ones where you get an idea, and it's always like you're always in the shower, or you're like taking a walk somewhere. You're the furthest that you could be from your instrument or a pen and paper. And you get the idea, and you come back and you write the whole thing in 5 minutes. Those are in my head, like, those are the best ones that work it, because like you say, if you try to make yourself right every day, it's never going to work. You've got to go out and live your life. It comes out the blue,
doesn't it? I remember I had this friend, and she's lovely, but she always used to come round to the house and just have a problem on her back, and we're like, let's work out this problem together. But then one day she was talking to me, and she said, I've looked in every book in every library shelf. And I was like, that was cool. Just say that again. Forget your stupid problem for a minute, you dafty, and we'll go. I said, I can look in every book in every library shelf, and it just sounded so rhythmical when she said it. And that one line wrote a whole poem just from that.
Whole thing. Love
and then that was where like you got this come from, because I was like, I've looked in every book in every library shelf, and I was trying to stabilise your mental health, and it just started branching from there.
Writes itself. That's brilliant.
It's beautiful, man.
I love that. That's what I'm saying. It's the inception of the idea. It's the first bit.
100%. There's no greater feeling, no bigger pleasure for me than having that initial little seed come in. And then you're just away. I can get that inspiration from listening to a song and hearing what it's about and going, I'm going to interpret that in this way. It's just finding inspiration in all them moments and feeling it.
We sound like proper, like, pretentious.
You know,
you've got to find the beauty in every flower.
But it's where it can come from. Like,
you're right. You're totally right.
You overstep it, don't you? You go through it, and it's like, oh no, that was a moment you could have taken that. But you've just gone, nah, I'll get to it later.
You just because you don't. Like we're saying, you don't sit around, you don't appreciate it. You're just too busy thinking, right? I've got, like when I was walking here. I was literally trying to get from Ripley to here, and I was just looking at my phone the whole time, looking at the map, because I'm clueless and have no. So I'm walking around, and I didn't realise that I'm walking past like actually like some nice architecture around here. It's nice countryside.
Bloody hell, mate! How long were you walking for?
I'm just saying. It was a nice little village. Is what I mean, and it reminded me of like my proper hometown and where my dad lives. And all that kind of
nice.
stuff. And I was like, I didn't appreciate it because I was too busy trying to find.
Song, Hometown.
Yeah, exactly. There it is. No, I don't know if you've ever been to Northampton, but
that's where all my side of the family are from, like my dad and that.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Like, no.
I felt guilty bringing into Ripley. Everyone thinks like their area is the bad area, don't they?
I know, everyone talks about it.
Yeah.
Like, it's all run down and terrible. It's like, no, it's not. It's the same as everywhere else.
Again, Ripley, and I give it that name too, but it was where like supposed to be the BMP sort of bred from, and EDL. But then you go out now and I go into the town of Ripley and I've just got so much love for it as well.
It's a nice place.
Charity shopping with my nan, going to the cafes that I know, and everyone just speaks of it in this like tragic way. And I'm like, please guys, it's got some, I think it's what you make it a lot of the time.
Yeah.
You just got...
I feel like there's a lot of that though where people are always sort of not ashamed of where they come from, but there's a lot of like, I'm better than that place now because I've left it, and I hate that because I'm like, I don't really like Northampton, but like my family, my best mates,
the memories all come from there, who you are,
and it's a great place.
I think there is a thing where people just like to sound like they've come from a bad area, really. They just like to feel like they've been part of the ghetto.
Yeah.
And I don't know where that stems from. But I love the moments I've spent around here and nights on the park tramping out. Have you heard of that?
No, what the hell?
You've all gone and told your mum and dad that you're staying at your mate's house and then you're actually somewhere else. So then nobody's allowed to go back to the homes because you're supposed to be at your mate's house.
Yeah.
So you have to just sleep on a bench until an acceptable time. And then you go to your mum and dad when you're back at 7. It's like, his mum and dad get up early and they told us to go. You're just like branches in your hair.
Yeah, covered in mud.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Stinking of vodka.
But that's a proper countryside experience.
It was great.
That's what I mean.
Days. And like when we're not doing anything wrong, but the police come down and we're like, police are here, scatter.
Yeah.
Everyone legs it. You're like, why are we running? I don't know, but it's good.
Because it's funny.
Yeah. Is there any other reason not to do that? That's the greatest start to a story because it was funny.
It was funny. Like, no, I feel like that's justification for anything.
Yeah.
Of just like, why'd you do that? Oh no, it was funny. Like, it was a good laugh.
Right, Morton. Is the tractor? Can you see behind? Is there a digger there yet? And is he going around in it?
I mean, I can see the arm of a digger.
Oh, is he doing?
I don't know if he's moving it.
I know I'm supposed to be delegating this man around the farm, telling him what he's supposed to be digging up. So that's happening soon.
Okay.
So I'm gonna have to let us go.
That's fine.
But would you do this again?
Mate, anytime.
I think
Give me
we
a shout.
could just talk about mad stuff.
Yeah, I feel like next time we need like a roadmap to follow. It's the same.
That's not the point of a podcast.
Mate, anytime I listen to this podcast, you'll start at point A, and then go to Z, and then back.
I love it.
It's my favourite.
That's all I want. I just want to go on rides with people. I hate it. Do you know when it's really scripted and you planned it all out? And then
I'm here to talk about my new movie.
So were you like an interviewer then? Is that how you got into that?
Yeah,
role?
well, yeah, I did some music journalism stuff. So I used
Is that
to.
what you went to uni to do?
Yeah,
Ish.
Creative writing and English literature.
Oh, God, you sound so great.
I know. No, it was literally I didn't really know what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
And I fell into the job, but yeah, that was it. I just got to interview people, got to
Cool,
review
you got
albums.
them opportunities though.
Yeah, it was good.
Any other good names in there?
Chainsmokers, they're up there.
Yeah, I know the
They're
Chainsmokers.
just the height of their fame as well. Hung out with them in Sony. One of them, I'm not going to name names. One of them was really nice. Came up, hugged me, lovely guy,
Sick.
remembered my name. The other one, awful.
Yeah.
Terrible dude.
You know who you are.
And you know. JP Cooper, you remember him?
Yes, man, the guitarist.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, beautiful.
He is one of the I've known him just through music for years, like because he played at Barn on the Farm, which is a little festival in Gloucester, like 2,000, 3,000 people.
Sick.
And he'd just hang out and get a cider or whatever.
Yeah.
But he is hands down the most amazing famous person I've ever met.
Yeah.
Just because he was laughing and joking around with me because he was like, I said, you're at the point now where you're getting recognised and stopped in the street.
Yeah.
And you got millions of followers. And he said, yeah, I was on a little pedalo scooter, one of Razor light scooters, the little ones, with his son.
Yeah.
And he's going along, and some guy was jogging along next to him, and he was like, "Hey, mate, big fan of your song." Like, and he's like flying down the street, and I'm like, "Why are you telling me? This is completely. You're supposed to be like telling me about your new single or your new album." And I'm like, "No, you're just being a real person and having a chat." That's the best part of it.
That is the greatest feeling.
Yeah, man.
Right, I've got all the digger men.
I know, I see him walking around.
They're ready for me.
He's looking for stuff.
Right, guys, you're going to see the farm in a whole new light soon. We're getting a hardcore area. It's going to have a stage. It's going to be sick. But we need to go out and tell these digger men what they're doing. So, thank you for being a part of the Old Farm Bus, Back of the Bus sessions. Morton, where can people find you?
We are on all socials as Good Hustles.
Good Hustles. Very sorry we had to end this so abruptly, but I've got to do some men stuff. Catch you soon.